This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News, news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
I know I'm out of order, but if we're going to get to this bridge, we don't need a preaching contest. So I cut off the other bishop to intervene, to say three things. That this was a spiritual movement, yes, sir, as much as anything else, and that my role with Martin Luther King was always to be different. The only time he got mad with me and cussed me out was when I agreed with everybody. And he said the diversity of opinion and perspective is absolutely necessary. So I want to say that we're talking a lot of black and white. I don't believe in that anymore. I didn't believe in that back then. That more than black and white, our problems are green and global. Now, if you look at Atlanta, we didn't talk black and white. We did talk green, and we did talk global. And in the process of getting people out of their emotionalism, we focused on the real problems. And I say that it's spiritual because I'm looking at my brother here, the Greek Orthodox Church, who we might tend to overlook. But without the presence of his predecessor, Archbishop Yakovitz, who later became my good friend and mentor and father in the ministry, and Rabbi Abram Heschel, along with the priests and nuns, our beatings might not have even been noticed had they not been there. But let me get back to the green and the global, because I don't see black and white in Ferguson. I see green. It's unemployed and underemployed taking their frustrations out on each other. And when our president doesn't talk about black and white, but talks green and global, he probably is doing much more to address the problems of the world than he could if he talked in the terms that we're talking here tonight or today. And so I want to remind you that we have come a long, long way. Maynard Jackson and Shirley Franklin, Bill Campbell, Kasim Reed, very seldom talked about black and white. But our airport last year generated $32 billion worth of economic activity and created 400,000 jobs. And that is addressing the last aspect of the movement which we have yet to take on. And that is, we promise to redeem the soul of America from the triple evils of racism, war, and poverty. Haven't done enough on poverty. We've done a lot, but it's global impact on the United States of America. And our poverty has as much to do with the currency manipulations in China that the president is trying to deal with as it does us being black and white on the same street. And I think we've got to focus on ourselves not as problems, but as visionaries, as people who see things, as Robert Kennedy said, as they should be, and ask why not, rather than see things as they are and ask why. We have come a long, long way, but I have enjoyed every bit of it. I don't remember being mad and sad even when Martin Luther King was killed, because I was mad that he went to glory and left us behind. in hell. But I saw him going on to claim a reward that he had well deserved. And so we've got a long way to go. We've got a lot to do. But we're trying to do it. We're trying to do it with you. We're going to do some crazy things with the ports in Savannah, hopefully with your help. I missed yesterday because I was with the governor of Washington State, because they're looking at a universal ID, which India developed to make sure that its poor got their benefits, because with all the money they were allotting for the poor, less than 50% was getting to the poor. So they developed a system where there are 10 fingerprints, dual eye scan, barcode, number, picture, signature, and all of the government funds flow directly through the banks, and nobody can get them but somebody that has those eyes and those fingerprints. They have done that already for 700 million people. And it's just about $1 per person. But it does so much to alleviate the pain of the poor. It turned out that 6 of the companies involved in that were in Seattle. And I had been invited by the mayor of Seattle to do the mayor's prayer breakfast before Thanksgiving. So I said, well, why don't you do what they did in India, since your companies did it for India? And he didn't know whether they could do that, but yesterday the governor invited me back for his prayer breakfast. And the legislature is doing something to try to help the poor get the money that the government allots them without all of the middlemen. Now, that's progress. We're looking at progress here socially, but I still remember the farmers. I still remember the people who let us camp on their land. I still remember the ones who put up their property for bonds when we went to jail. Their children are doing all right. They're going to school in these universities and doing well. But they still own this land, but if we don't find them a new crop, they're likely to lose it. So I ran into an old coon-ass Cajun down in Louisiana and a black Marine that were working on a new crop that old folks could farm and make money without a whole lot of work. And we're talking about putting that together with some of the veterans who want to come back here and just need a job. And we're trying to find ways to grow this southern economy, because since air conditioning and integration, there's no better place to raise a child than in these little towns in the deep south, like Marion, Alabama, that produced Coretta King and Juanita Abernathy and Jean Charles Young, and that brought me to this place where I had my first date in 1952. And so we've been on this case a long time, but I ain't no ways tired. Don't you get tired either.